Good morning, students. For this module, I'm going to help you work on comparing and contrasting two poems. And so this PowerPoint slide and video will help you. We've done some work before on this first point here that says gathering meaning and understanding. This first slide captures most of what you will need to do to complete your essay. So the first task was gathering meaning and understanding, and you did a great job there. And this week you will move to producing your thesis statement, and then you will produce your developmental paragraphs. You will give attention to using transitional devices. And you will pay attention to forming correct sentences so that you communicate your ideas clearly. And then, finally, you'll write your conclusion. Step 1, gathering meaning and pointing out how literary devices worked. And so you looked at the poems and you identified devices such as metaphors, personification, symbolism, irony. You will notice that I have placed images in the middle here, and it's deliberately at a point where it intersects with other devices. Because if you're talking about metaphors, you may not be able to avoid speaking about images entirely. Maybe a little bit of it is involved when you work with metaphors. And some amount of the image is going to be overlapping in your discussion with personification. And the same goes for other devices. I've left these two blank because you'll probably have other devices that I haven't remembered to take note of. So you have completed this aspect of your task, and so you keep your notes close at hand to help you with step 2. Step 2 is about producing your thesis statement, and of course it's a difficult task. We've been doing it quite a while now, and still it's difficult for us to perfect the art of forming a thesis statement. But the truth is, if you don't get it right at the beginning, the entire essay will go wrong. So let's go. Literary analysis essay requires you to carefully examine and evaluate works of literature. This time you're evaluating two poems. And so specifically it tells you that you're writing a literary analysis essay. And then this is what you're required to do. Evaluate. And you're going to evaluate two poems. Analysis is a skill you must demonstrate in your writing. And this requires you to break down the subject, meaning two poems and what's going on in the poems and how the devices work. Break down the subject into its component parts. And of course, when we talk about component parts, you're going to look at how different aspects of the poems work. So break them down and examine how the different elements contribute to the whole. So we're talking about the parts, and we're also keeping in mind how does it contribute to the whole. And remember that it's your thesis that captures the essence of what is the whole. Your thesis should then be a statement or a claim that captures the whole. This time it must capture the essence of 2 of the 4 poems. Any 2 you could select. Examples. When we compared wild swans at cool and carrion crows, we created thesis statements such as both poems, dot 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 and dot 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 by dot 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 and dot dot dot, present studies of birds in their natural habitat. So this predicate here produces your thesis statement. This here, the predicate, is essentially what your thesis articulates. Another example, both poems, dot by dot and dot by dot, turn our attention. So this is my mistake. Could you change OUT, our attention, to the attitudes of wild birds? Or both poems deliver man's admiration of birds and nature. Another example, another possibility, both poems are beautifully crafted. Or both are beautifully crafted poems that address, and you could go on to say what they address. Remember our operative terms, and those are your verbs. Present. Turn our attention to. Deliver. Are beautifully crafted. Now, some information regarding your introduction. Your introductory paragraph should consist of the thesis statement and other introductory material. You may introduce a central theme in this paragraph, but do not list the devices you will examine in your introductory paragraph. This is a weak approach to producing poetry analysis. It reveals that your thinking and organizational skills are weak. Therefore, do not say that the poems have metaphor, simile, imagery, irony, personification in your first paragraph. Now, in producing your paragraphs, they should be coherent and they should be related to each other. So this diagram illustrates the relatedness. So you begin paragraph 1 and you're going to state your topic sentence, and that's also your thesis. Ensure that when you go to paragraph 2, it is a version of the thesis. Paragraph 3, another version of your thesis, and that's going to be your topic sentence. Paragraph 4, another version of your thesis as the topic sentence. Paragraph 5, another version of your thesis as the topic sentence. Paragraph 6, another version of the thesis as a topic sentence. And finally, paragraph 7, another version of your thesis, and this will begin your conclusion. And it's the thesis that holds the essay together, because you'll find that your thesis is threaded true and true every paragraph until you get to the conclusion of your essay. That's the only way you're going to achieve coherence. All right? Next slide. Every paragraph must reflect your meal plan. And here I say meal plan. The MEAL indicates what kinds of sentences should make up your paragraph. So sentence 1, M, main idea, or your topic sentence. Please put it first, nowhere else. Paragraph 2, evidence sentence. One evidence sentence. There are cases where we could have 2, but you have to be a strong writer to manage that. E, sentence 3. As soon as you give evidence from the poem, and you put your evidence in quotation marks, it cannot be an entire sentence from the poem. It could only be the device at work. It could only be a phrase, a group of words at work. That's evidence sentence. And it's followed by your analysis sentence. And here we could have more than one of them. Analysis sentence. And then the last sentence in your paragraph should be a lead out or a linking sentence. So this sentence is going to indicate that you're moving from a previous paragraph and you're moving to link another new paragraph. All right? No paragraph should have more than 6 sentences. No paragraph should have more than 6 sentences. You must produce no less than 6 developmental paragraphs. So you cannot submit an essay, a literary essay, with 3 paragraphs. You're already setting yourself up to get a poor mark. Undeveloped paragraphs are not acceptable. And so you may not just scribble 2 sentences and send them to me as a paragraph. That's quite undeveloped. Step 3, pay attention to your transitional devices and your grammar. So every sentence must be correctly formed using subjects. And I want you to follow all of these rules to get your transitional devices and grammar working correctly. And step 4, we're at the end, you're writing your conclusion. And here you will need to restate your thesis. You need to have no new information added. And remember, do not list things in your conclusion. Thank you.